I just thought of a really funny idea, but that's for another time. I have to write it down, as I also need to write down timestamps for this OFCRA operation. And we'll get that set up. OFCRA. Alright, we good. How's everyone doing? Wee Woo here. Let's go ahead and get our prediction going. I think this is still a purely blue 4 versus op 4 scenario. I do see some green markers, though. I just want to check to make sure that is a-okay. Yep, alright, cool. Let me go ahead and get the prediction set up. Not you too, Devil. Come on. I'm just your standard, typical person. Awesome, and I still have it set up in the memory of the predictions here. Angel, are you okay? You were literally in that previous mission, just giggling your ass off as you were stabbing people. That was certainly something. But regardless, this is the Operation Flashpoint campaign. OFCRA has been doing this. Will be the finale for that scenario where we've seen Russian forces fighting Polish, British, and German forces here. When we last left off, Blue 4 was able to recapture the local town, or I guess village, of Bizupek after some pretty heavy fighting, and now Op 4 is setting up a defensive zone as Blue 4 is going to try to push up and engage them. Regardless, let's go ahead and go over the objectives here. So there is a Russian FOB, which I believe is this position right here, Op 4 being on defense for today. And then there are two defensive lines. Looks like these three positions, each only worth a single point. But, okay, no, it's per point, per marker per point. So each one of these zones is worth a point, and they are cashing at the 65-minute marker. And then if you keep your company commander alive by the 2-hour marker, you also gain. Excuse me, not 2 hours. I'm misreading the numbers here, being dyslexic. If you keep your company commander alive by the 1-hour mark, you gain 2 points. So, hypothetically, if Op 4 hold their FOB, but they lose all of the other zones on the outside, and their company commander dies, but Blue 4 stays alive by the hour mark, they could do a tie game. But basically, this is worth 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 8 points, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, and then keeping your company commander alive by the hour mark, 2 points. They can't already each other's spawns till 3 minutes have passed. This is a standard 90-minute match. Blue 4 spawning on the bottom right, Op 4 top left. Both sides probably have artillery vehicles again, as well as autocannons. We might even see some tanks going around and whatnot, but we'll see how things go. Regardless, we have OFCRA today, and then we have a POG operation as well, and we will... Damn, Charlotte, these are some... Why is that sniper rifle so tall? Ay, ay, ay. Regardless, this will be the final operation for Flashpoint here. Regardless, we'll see how things go with this scenario. Funny enough, we watched Twig King and his guys do a lot of funny stuff in the previous Flashpoint op. He got reported for stream sniping. I can't make this shit up. He had to prove how easy it is to literally drive a vehicle around the back line of your enemy, listen for artillery tanks that are loud as hell, and then point out the fact that he found an artillery tank on the map border and then another artillery tank in an open field as he was listening for them to fire. Like, I love people. He was talking to me before the op, and he also went on a rant about how he had to prove he wasn't stream sniping in squad because there was a whole squad of people skylining on a ridge, and he saw that, and then he just walked up and murdered them all. You gotta really find it funny when people bitch about certain things, but when you look at the circumstances and say it all out loud, makes you wonder, like, yeah, that's probably why you died. Artillery tanks are loud when they shoot their 90 or 122 millimeter shells or whatnot. People, if you skyline and you start seeing these little black dots moving along a ridge at the top, then yeah, you're probably going to get noticed. But who knows at that point, man? I'm just here to commentate, and I'm here to show you all the silly things people do in Arma 3 PvP. That's my job here. That is my sole purpose. And hopefully we will push through the mission. I was about to say, I better not be stuck here and I just never hit the continue button because I glitched out or something. They've already started. That would have been funny as hell because that sometimes happens. I mean, I was playing Arma Reforger the other day and I literally went into my map and then went out of my map and my gun fired. I tabbed out twice without clicking my mouse and my gun fired twice. And then I hit the escape button and my gun fired. I don't know why my gun kept firing. By the map one, I was getting pretty pissed off about it, too, because we actually started the op. And again, my gun went off. I'm like, what the fuck? I was standing in the open, and he shot me. Oh, I must have an aimbot. It's almost like being in an open field is usually not a good strategy, you know? Don't tell Pierce that he loves open fields. I want to let him keep his dream going. Love that, man. Regardless, hopefully they'll push in soon because I'm going to be honest with you guys, I haven't finished the Pog mission. I do have Plinko ready to go, but as you can see, I still need to clean out the damn Plinko board. But yeah, literally, as soon as the Fallout mission ended, I went upstairs to check on Bloodwing because she came home. She then proceeded to wrap me in a blanket burrito and not let me leave, even though I needed to, because I had to run back downstairs, talk with MacMarine, and get all the stuff priced out for upgrades. For tonight's mission, which is now going to be, instead of a ZU-23 Hilux, it's a Vulcan Hilux. He also bought a bunch of body armor, helmets, and fatigues to make the player base more tanky. And then he also got F-2000s. I also provided the free crate of javelins now because they hit that milestone, so that's 4 javelins to work with every mission for the rest of the campaign until we refresh it in like 2 or 3 months. And then, I'm trying to think to myself here, I wrote out a list of things for the Zeuses to know that are working on the Fallout ops regarding, you know, what we just played, and then I need to provide them with ACE settings, which I will do probably later tonight after I finish the Pog mission, so... The menu is still set to Razor's DayZ server. I will be switching that out after this stream. And then I need to, for tomorrow, I need to set up a new set of D goals so we can fund a 24-hour DayZ stream if you chuckleheads really want to see that. And then I've been making some good progress with that 24-hour ARM op I've been hinting about here and there. I think we have 7 of the 8 mission files chosen, so... Yeah, definitely over the next few nights you're going to be seeing a lot of mission dev because there's a lot I need to work on. There's a lot to do, guys. And then there's, gosh, this other game where I need to go and check out called Xfil. Homeworld 3, we streamed that. I've literally uninstalled it until they come out with some new content because there's nothing left for me to do. And then Dark Tide's having a Skull event, so I need to stream, you know, maybe an evening of that and just beat it. It's not hard. I looked into it. I did a frickin' Auric Damnation Maelstrom. And then I calculated out it's probably going to take another 15 missions for me to get everything I need for the Skull event. So if each mission runs for roughly 30 to 40 minutes, then that is, 15 divided by 2, and then add a few extra on top. That's what? Probably 12 hours worth of Darktide. But I want to tie it into the Darktide sound bites because we haven't really been able to exploit them, but I want to add a few fancy ones, so I'll probably find some time to do that tonight. And then, of course, edit, release content, watch it get throttled by YouTube and not give an absolute flying fuck, you know, stuff like that. Ay, ay, ay. I have a really funny idea, though. Bloodwing loves Enderman donuts. Like the chocolate-covered ones. I'm gonna steal them. And then I'm going to make a Saw-like video that forces her to do chores around the house. And I'm going to provide it on a YouTube link on a sticky note in the donut box. What I'm worried about is she's literally crazy for those donuts, and the last time I did something like that, she literally broke my monitors. That'd be funny, though. That would be a funny little joke series to randomly put on the VOD channel. Maybe if I have some extra time. I've also been asked to do so many different little utility tasks that are a pain in the butt. God, but this weekend we got 240k ops to do on Saturday, back-to-back. The standard 31st Steel Legion, and then jump to TOC jump, which is tedious, right? And then Sunday and Saturday I want to fit in some additional ops here and there. It's just I need to do some IRL stuff as well, but we'll go nuts with all that. Enderman Minecraft donuts? Yeah, right. But I'm thinking after this weekend, I want to try to take it easy, but at the same time, I've already been taking it easy because we had a bunch of server stuff break. But
no.
Regardless, let's see how everything goes for the
hear?
mission. All right, looking over at Blue 4, we have the British forces here, so they've got L-85s. Mazes, we've got some Scope GM, we got a Scope GMG, a Scope 50 cal. They've got GPMGs for their Coyotes and Jackals here. We got some more ACOG Scoped 50 cals. I love Scoped 50 cals. They turned the general suppression weapon into a giant stable marksman platform, and well, actually not even a marksman, sniper platform. But we got some Actually, I don't know what that one is. It looks like a G28. We also have some suppressed shooters with Iglas here for some of the British forces. That's quite interesting. Guess they're provided that, but I mean, it should technically be stingers or blowpipes or something less crazy. Otherwise, looking over at this is the German forces. They have a Crow MRAP. Oh, right, I remember they had this last mission, but they didn't even use it. They still won, but oh, they've got 2. They've got 3. What? Oh, they've got 4 Crow System 50 cals. And they've got their Leopard, and they've got their 2 PZ-2000 artillery tanks. Oh, my God. We have some Crocus AT weapons, which, by the way, we found out how to utilize those. We just have to find the drone operator, and then we can see on his camera where those drones are. But otherwise, single Leopard tank in play. Blue 4, meanwhile, the Grom forces with the Polish, we've got some more starter drones. We've got a 40mm bomb drone, and then we have their transport BRDMs with the NPZ guns on top. And then we also have their, oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the designation of the vehicle, but it's pretty much an IFV, and they've got a full platoon of those. Good God. Let's go ahead and look at OP4, and then I'll answer some questions I see in chat. Regardless, OP4, we've got our Russian forces here. We got a platoon of those Tempest MRAPs here, AK-74s in play. Second platoon, which is on the site of this FOB. We have some BTR-80s in play. We have a Tempest with that 30mm on top. We got some 80 Alphas in play as well. We have 2 OP4 artillery tanks. Transport gas there. We see some of their drones, which are going to be Crocus AT with some 40mm drones. And then looking at their last platoon, probably another platoon of, no, these appear to be transport trucks. We do have a T90 in play, though. Or is that a T80? That might be a T80, actually. But chat, you correct me if I'm wrong. That's still an up-armored tank of some sort to help counter the Leopard. And then this transport platoon is literally just a motorized truck platoon. It's an 80? Fair enough. But otherwise, that is what we have. We got Fawns commanding Blue 4. OP4's commander is Lolo. And otherwise, we have at least 135 people on the server. Let me quickly check in TeamSpeak. Oh, God. We're at 175. 1 second, I'll add that to the title. Yeah, the Flashpoint missions have been really popular within OFCRA. We've been seeing some very high numbers. But regardless, looking at the zone, so OPFOR's FOB is all of this area with these dug-in and trenches. I really like the fact that we're going to be seeing some trench warfare fighting here. So basically, they deform part of the terrain. This is Red and Tank's trenches, which I really, really love. I haven't even thought of deforming with them yet, but yeah, they got some really nice dugouts and everything as well. And then let's look at the defensive areas here. It's just additional trench lines. So we're going to see some pure trench warfare today. That is going to be awesome. Which means that Blue 4's drone warfare capabilities are definitely going to be needed. But Op4 is going to have to basically pick a few positions to hold. Maybe send some forces to counter. But it's just a straight shot between the AO. So I think there's definitely going to be some really good fighting in the early game. And although Op4 has some really good Overwatch positions from these towers and the two-story prison building with the third-story rooftop access, Blue 4 has a lot of... they've got scoped 50 cals and they have Crow System 50 cals that can auto-range, so... Ooh. Also, Op4 only have 2... Is that right? Yeah, they only have 2 autocannon vehicles. Blue 4 at least have 4... with the Polish forces. T-80 U or a UD, yeah, it definitely looks like an up-armored vehicle or upgraded vehicle of some sort, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's, it does look more like a T-80 rather than a T-72. Because I know POG has a T-90 right now because someone got them one. But regardless, answering some questions from chat, there is nothing planned with Karma at the moment. Simply put, I concluded the Ukrainian stuff for them, and then we changed the slot. So instead of doing his stuff at 9 o'clock, now I fill in for 10 o'clock at a different place where I'm just on the ground. And the thing with Karma is, first off, I think he's a great guy. That is definitely one of the better communities I've worked for in the past. The whole reason I took that job in the first place was, one, it was for free, so it was just an exposure job, but it was very easy because with their medical and what they wanted to do, they would do literally an objective the size of this for like 2 hours, and they would basically slowly clear the tree lines, slowly come into here, and it would only take me like 45 minutes to an hour to build up something like this. And that's not including the deformer usage either. Let's pretend that for the sake of that argument, that deformer I didn't need to do. The Ukraine stuff literally took the 1 hour jobs to 7 to 8 hour jobs to make the missions. And then even on top of that, there would be, you know, back and forth between making things work, making more areas to fight, custom AI to deal with, all of this additional stuff that, again, it scope creeped, essentially, from, you know, me spending 1 hour a week doing stuff to 7 to 8. And, you know, Panama started taking 3 to 4 hours, but I was okay. That was the previous campaign before they switched to Ukraine, but I admittedly was getting a bit burnt out from working for Karma on that. But again, I didn't mind because I offered to him after I took the new deal on Saturdays to work for someone else, and I will admit that's also a paid gig. So I make money just by attending on the Saturday stuff. I told him I could do Friday evenings at 9 o'clock, and I just never heard back. So I think I got soft ghosted there. But as far as I know, since there hasn't even been a reach out by them or whatnot, I don't think any more Karma COG stuff is happening for the foreseeable future, at least for me here. I am more than happy to work with them again. It's just, I told them, like, I can work their Fridays because they had both a Friday op and a Saturday op. And I think they just quietly let me go. And I remember they were talking, they had another Zeus that they did, they also quietly let go a few months before I, you know, stopped working for them. I'll keep that internal to them, but I'm just wondering, you know, maybe I ended up falling in the same sphere of things, but at the same time, I did my best. I was open with the community. I tried my best to give something, you know, working for everyone, but I'll be honest, when you have really big communities with, you know, 80+ players that turn out every time, it's really hard to get everyone something that they want. And then, you know, if you annoy enough people, then they're just gonna go and, you know, take their negativity up the chain, and, you know, you're kind of damned anyway. But, yeah. That's just my side of things. I genuinely don't know. I said that was I told them like 3 or 4 weeks prior to our last stop. We still ran another 2 or 3 operations that I was being taken for Saturdays so I could do the Friday intake. I recall them saying, like, okay, we'll talk about it when we get there, and then we just never had that conversation. And yeah, so, I don't know. I will admit, though, on my side of things these days, I am focusing more on contract work. And not like PMC ops themselves, I mean like where I actually make a bit of a chunk of change, because running your own community and making missions for, you know, that individual entity and then branching out and doing all this other stuff, it really stacks up. All right, as a YouTuber and a Twitch streamer, most of the time, those people, all they got to do is show up, stream something, and then edit the footage, release it, and then that's their cycle. I, on top of doing all of that, have to make the missions, test the missions, make sure our server's good to go, update the server's mod set if need be, and also, you know, manage a bunch of other people that work for me and, you know, help me make missions and try to optimize what I can, and that's always a plus or minus. And then on top of that, I can also, you know, do the same thing in other communities. And it's just, again, it's a very tedious aspect. So, suffice to say, my time gets very limited very quickly when I start working for multiple communities. And that's what I also figured. I know their Fridays are more for like a training style thing, but I don't mind doing that, because that also means that the mission files don't have to be the most grandiose. But again, it's, at that point, I was just someone brought in to do a job, and, you know, if they don't need me anymore and our schedules don't line up, then oh well. I've had plenty of communities I've worked, you know, months to years to, where, you know, schedules just kind of fall out of play and things happen. Honestly, I think for like 90% of my gigs, that's generally how it goes anyway. And, you know, it's fun, because my goal with all this Zeusing hasn't been to... Actually, no, let me reword that. My goal with the Zeusing has literally been to just, you know, go to various communities, learn how they do things, and then broaden my horizons with that. Similar to, you know, if you go traveling in the world, you'll experience a bunch of different cultures, and, you know, broaden your horizons there. Same thing with my Zeusing. And I will admit, they were a very unique community to Zeus for, and I don't say that with any negativity to it. It was just how they did things, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I agree, dude, but what's done is done, and I'm like, the door's not closed, at least on my side. I just don't want to, you know, bump them and awkwardly reach out, because I was also under the constant impression that they were super busy. Because we would organize to get a lot of stuff done beforehand, and then for the first few weeks, I would follow that system, and then they wouldn't give me any feedback till, like, the day of, or before the day of. So it always defeated the purpose of getting things done ahead of time. So I just, you know, reverted back, and, you know, that could be another reason. But, again, Karma, he also manages his own company or something. So, again, he's got all of his other stuff. And I'll admit, like, I mostly dealt with the guy under him, Musco, who, again, really cool guy. I remember I accidentally pissed him off a few times, though, because I would make some jokes directed at him, but that's all good. I got nothing but good things to say about them. I think the only time I have screwed up a contracting job was with a group called the Bleach Boys back in the day, because I accidentally used a super laser and killed them all. Because I completely misjudged the range, and that was a great lesson just to make sure I have everything tested beforehand. But they had their own mod set to do stuff, and I just, you know, thought it would be interesting. We just heard a tank fire. I can't tell. It might have been the T-80 here engaging something down below. But with the first, I mean, it's only been 5 minutes since the mission opened up. So OPFOR have set up this massive area around the zones without actually holding the zones themselves. We have a very small garrison in the final base, but they're definitely being very aggressive here and pushing out. Blue 4, meanwhile, have kind of sent everything out in various directions. So that's interesting to see, because Blue 4 last time, they sent like half platoon up and then kept everything else in reserve as a small firefight went out, whereas OPFOR kind of just, what was it? They sent, basically, they did what Blue 4's doing here. So now both factions are really spacing themselves out, so that's kind of interesting to see, but I think the tank is trying to snipe out this vehicle here from maximum render range. Oh yeah, I mean, I do have the story of how I killed a community. It was Vix's community, funny enough, with an Elstalfo meme before they rebuilt themselves. Oh yeah, I've got I've got plenty of funny stories where I've accidentally, I'm trying to think, were any of those times intentional? I don't think so. I've killed a unit with an Elstalfo meme. I've killed a unit just by showing up and doing a role that they asked me to come and do. And then when some other people complained about it, I offered, okay, I can just be a normal guy. And they're like, no, no, do this role. I'm like, okay. I killed a unit just by showing up and streaming because they told me to show up and stream. That was when the unit commander got super drunk and then tried to team kill all of us in a Pelican. That was also the same one where I went up and looked at some dude's vehicle and got into it and then started getting yelled at because that's quote-unquote his vehicle. And it's like, what? Ah, man. And I think there was a fourth time. I just can't remember it on the top of my head. Suffice to say, I've been doing this since 2016. We've had 8 great hours. I was about to say 8 great hours. No, 8 great years of ARMA. That's a bit of a different time span. I have over 2.5 years worth of time just on ARMA 3 itself, because it's over 20,000 hours. I've got stories for days about this game. How does Elstalfo destroy a unit? Alright, TLDR of that story. One of the members of their community jumped into my Discord, and I don't know what was wrong with them, but they saw a meme where it was literally it was a picture of Elstalfo, and the caption on the top was, "You know what?" ? And then the bottom text was, "Unfemboys your Elstalfo," and it just showed a female Elstalfo, fully clothed, you know, just with breasts, and armor and whatnot. And apparently that made this person go on a massive tirade in the community that they're from, and that tirade ended up causing either someone to start mass deleting channels or something else, because we were going to do a joint op, and basically everything just went up in smoke with their community for like a few months before they rebuilt themselves and got rid of that person. But for a few months that community died, all because they went into my Discord, they saw something, and then went back in their own community and had a massive fit about it. An image with Elstalfo in it. And you would think that that's impossible, that people are rational on the internet. I can't even finish that statement correctly. But, my God, people are crazy. Alright, we see some artillery going on some of the tree lines here. I think that's just Blue 4 guessing on where forces are. But, as I learned in the previous mission, the drone operators are usually the guys in 2IC, so if I go to the third-person camera and then I scroll out, you can actually see where their drones are. So they've got a darter drone up here overwatching that element. I think all of the platoons also have their own drone operators, but if you just select one of them, you can see all allied drones in the region. So they got their bomb drone set up. I don't see any Crocus drones up. Or it might be Crocus. And then Wombat is an OPFOR drone operator. We see that the bomb drone's here with some darters all around. So that Blue 4 drone could be spotting to try and hit stuff with Artie, but for now, that is where the drones are in play. Really cool thing I learned recently with the previous mission, which was 2 weeks ago. So we now have a way to track drones. I mean, to unfemboy Elstalfo was kind of a crime, but not meltdown worthy. Look, I get it, alright? Arma, I'm gonna be honest. There are some situations I've been in this game where it's very, very stressful. I mean, CCO6, for example. I mean, that's where I met Vix, for frick's sake, and that's where we kicked it off because she was one of my platoon leaders, and I was a company commander, and we spent 6 hours in one of the jankiest, most biased bullshit missions ever. And if I think I only did that on like the 3rd year of me doing stuff, but if I were to redo it as who I was now, I would have had much more of a spine and just outright told people to start massacring the locals in that mission because it was such BS. But, you know. That's also why I'm abrasive against playing PvP in this game, because I just keep having really screwed up experiences. But to each their own. Man. Charlotte, we will see. I gotta go look at a D-Goal document to see if we even unlocked that mission, because there's a lot of missions I owe, but we'll start playing heavy catch-up soon. So we still have the tank on Overwatch here. It was watching Blue 4 vehicles move up. OFCRA have set up a really awesome defense line right here. And I think Blue 4, I'm assuming this is Twig King's group. Yep. So, again, fun fact, Twig King, he did this last time, where he was ordered to basically ride the map border, get behind OFCRA's defensive line, and hunt down their artillery vehicles, and he's doing the exact same thing again. Hey, Grenbrig, how you doing, buddy? Thanks for the 11-person raid. I gotta find you one day and raid you back, man. I think I just keep checking. I don't see you, and I don't see Savan. I don't see everyone else who raids me. Because we all stream at awkward times. And yes, I know, Az. It's just, I think Mondays are now going to go to, Oh, someone just died. Because I can hear them locally, and my TFAR plugin to hear people locally broke. But let's see. That hit right on Boyer, too. That's another dead. So 3 people die. There's 1 uncon in the truck. So let me explain how that's possible. If we go to... Oh, and we've also got an OPFOR vehicle driving up to a Blue 4 defensive line here. Oh, this is one of 2 of OPFOR's autocannon vehicles. That is going to potentially be a problem. If Blue 4 notice it in time, I mean, that's going to be a really fun thing to snipe, but the Blue 4 defensive line here wasn't covering the SSR. And now SSR is going to turn into an MSR here. Blue 4 did not have AT prepped. And they didn't have any vehicle coverage of the road itself, so now this vehicle is going to go in the back line. And the tank, I'm not sure where Blue 4's tank is actually, but we could see a vehicle come up and intercept. Now we hear that vehicle moving, but it's not going up to pursue. But anyway, back to explain why Boyer just got absolutely creamed. If we look on the map through Roderick, who is a Blue 4 drone operator, we see that there's a drone here and up here. So I'm willing to bet this platoon used their drone to coordinate where Boyer was. So if I were to rise up, there's the drone actually. So from here, they definitely saw Boyer 2 moving around right there where they were struck and basically just RD'd them. So we're probably going to see some more RD use over here with this infantry group because there is a Blue 4 drone right above their position. So great use of drone spotting for artillery. Blue 4 definitely dominated the game with that last time, 2 weeks ago, with the previous mission of this campaign, and we're going to see that follow on as well. We have a second T-Gear coming around. Blue 4 might ready themselves to engage that one, knowing that one has blown past their lines. What I'm curious about right now, though, is where is the other Blue 4 tank? We've got one of the RD pieces here. Ah, okay, the tank's all the way up there. So these units might be able to locate enemy forces with impunity, but let me go see where OPFOR's drones are. There we go. didn't appear that time. So we still have the bomb drone up here. We got this one right here. They could go and hunt down Blue 4's area here because there's an open line, and OPFOR have been pushing out to deal with that. We have another drone coming on the flank, could spot the forces coming around there. Interesting how slowly this is starting up. But for now, honestly, just watching the map and watching symbols disappear would probably be your best bet. I'm going to keep my camera over Chekhov too, because that is, I think, the next potential position we're going to see get hit by Artie, but could be anyway. We are just playing Thursdays and Sundays, righto. Sunday I might be able to give a raid back then, because I know I do stream a lot on Sundays as well. More Artie splashing. Don't see any new skulls. Boyer 2's all the way back there. That T-80's engine fires up. They might have taken... No, it's over here. Vehicle on fire. I'm hearing Artie land down there as well. I just saw some tracer shots go in. So Boyer 1, funny enough, now getting hit. Looks like no casualties, but they lost their vehicle. And I'm hearing... It looks like the tank is engaging Blue 4 forces over here. Yep. My camera can't zoom in quick enough. That gets a knockout on a guy. They're using HE shells. We have Diablo dead over here. Oh, multiple guys dead. Jeez. So I think the tank did a shot earlier. OPFOR already landed right there and caused Blue 4 to pull some of their forces back. I hear more shells. Oh, we also have artillery shells landing over here right in some Blue 4 defensive areas. So OPFOR's artillery is also doing a really good job. Blue 4 brought their vehicle up to set up a defensive position. One vehicle watching back, one watching forward. The Gaz is coming in. We have the Gaz T-Gear driving around over here. Might be looking for the Blue 4 artillery. Whoever annihilates their opponent's arty, I think, is going to do the... definitely have the advantage, because Blue 4 got a lot of artillery kills in the previous round, but right here, they need to keep that gun focused. Looks like the car, will it spot the vehicle on the road here? Yeah, so they're just, I don't know why they're trying to look through the foliage when they've got that right there. Yeah, shoot him. Shoot him, dude. There's more GLs going through. That squad leader gets absolutely blown away. This is NASA's team. He should be reloading and immediately trying to fire again, because there's a lot of stuff in there that could potentially dismount. More shots going in. Pierce fighting. Wow, it is Pierce's group. That grenade might actually get raised. Nope, he was a bit too low there. Where's the GMG Vic? GMG Vic's changed directions. Honestly, it shouldn't be just firing like this. It needs to be just suppressing the hell out of the tree line. Let the 50 cal do something like that. The GMG should just be openly suppressing this area. But anyway, shots go back. They get the AA gunner. Looking at the map macro here, we have OPFOR. They're deploying on the rear of this formation and starting to push in. The Tempest Vic has just bypassed the artillery vehicles because it's being moved up to support against the Blue 4 position back there. And I just saw some smoke come out of that vehicle, which means they're firing while moving. Interesting. Blue 4 have additional forces that are on the side. They might try some long-range engagements here. But again, they've got scopes on the vehicles. That is a scoped 50 cal. At this range, with that ACOG, it would be effective, but only on targets that aren't moving. Surprised Blue 4 pulled back like this. They had the upper hand, but it just shows that Blue 4 is being really squirrely today. Interesting calls. 50 cal now firing, and the GMG is able to take out another player. But Blue 4, I think they're moving the artillery over here, realizing that OPFOR is doing some incursions on that side. 50 cal's trying to fire at the infantry moving back over here. We'll see if Ashton 2 is coordinating with Ashton 1. They're all part of the same platoon. But we need to see that GMG Vic move up and just start saturating the tree line. I hear a drone. That is the Blue 4 bomb drone coming in. Not sure if it'll be able to find targets in this open tree line, but it might find some open spots here. I don't think it's needed because, again, they've got the GMG Vic here. But Blue 4 transitioning their Vics. Twig's guys are right here looking at that adjacent tree line. Op 4 is keeping both of their RD Vics close, so is Blue 4. Both sides do have an artillery computer to utilize, so I think they were trying to use that while on the move, but... there she is. I think they're using it as a weapon of fear here. To make these guys think there's a drone above them to rout them out of cover if they're proning for too long. And if not, I mean, that's at least a benefit because that drone is so loud, but ooh. Crazy how that's being used. Yilmus, thanks for the 22-month resub, buddy. I hope you keep enjoying the operations. Anyway, we get a nice kick out of this scenario. Alright, so Op 4 now moving on the rear, but we do have a rear-facing autocannon. Yeah, as soon as an Op 4 guy pokes his head up, he's going to get annihilated because this guy's facing rear security. And I'd be willing to bet that's because Blue 4 probably spotted them with a drone. We got some Crocus drones taking off. Yeah, so they got a Crocus here, and they have they have a darter right there. So I'm willing to bet we're going to see this Crocus potentially come in and hit people. Op 4 just trying to, or Blue 4 just trying to find the remaining forces here. How about Op 4's drone deployment? 1 second. Oh, I clicked on the wrong guy. So we've got darters. They've got a Crocus out here. That might be used on that tree line there, but... there we go. Autocannon started hitting these forces here. We have HE shells being utilized. Honestly, bring that Crocus in the air and start smacking into groupings of Op 4 moving down. That would be a really good call. I did see some smoke kick up right here, though. That might have been the Crocus detonating. Whoa! He just got hit by an arty shell. I'm surprised he's still kicking, but yeah, no, we've got Op 4 arty now landing on. Checking real quick. Yeah, so that smoke we saw was the Crocus getting detonated. We have another IFV coming down. We got some Op 4 guys, though. Do any of them have AT capability? Because this would be a free snipe. Seismo does not. Do Curie? Mac Marine does. So if he hears it coming... yeah, he already pulls it out. So Blue 4 trying to deploy back here. Op 4 could get some snipes on those vehicles because the other one has pulled back and started moving down that route. And this attack wave is just completely routed at this point. They're trying to come around and flank. This is a damaged one, though, so one RPG shot could potentially knock it out. They just need to cautiously move up to it. Might see some people try to do some field repairing with it. What are the drone types? There are 3 in play for this mission. There's darters, which are simple scouting drones. There is the 40mm bomb drone, and then there's the Crocus AT drones. To click on Rod Rig, this is a darter. That is a Crocus. And then the bomb drone, I don't see it anymore, but it looks different than that. I think Op 4 might still have theirs deployed. This one. So we need to see Mac cautiously move up here. He might have an angle. He fires. And it does hit. And the engine's smoking. Get some knockouts in the vehicle as well. That's going to make those Polish forces continue to pull back. And the vehicle cooks off and takes everyone that was still inside of it with it. It's funny because you can still hear the turret turning sound. So they're pulling away. Free kill on that vehicle for OPFOR. And we still have Blue 4 marauding around and taking out any remaining OPFOR guys in this zone. Looks like Crocus drone was destroyed and they were asking for a refund for it. We just heard a Moz round come in, but it was short. No, they're trying to snipe the vehicle out because someone was inside of it and he is dead. Yeah, I thought that looked like an L85 for a second, but no, that's just modified AK-74. You got Blue 4 marauding around back here. They're desperately doing some recon here, probably trying to listen for OPFOR already to fire. Now you got OPFOR pushing right in. There's another vehicle right here. Mac Marine's gone on the road. He's readying an RPG. He's waiting to see if it comes out. Zizmo desperately gets out of the way. RPG goes in, slams right into the front. Gun is still active, though. And the gunner is now blind firing. Second RPG will need to go in. Zizmo dodging fire from Pingus here. Mac, that was his second RPG shot. He might be out of RPGs. Zizmo gets knocked out. Grenade by Curie. That was only a V40, though. This is the OPFOR bomb drone. And we just heard it actually drop a bomb. Vehicle's been abandoned. They're shooting at it now. That gets 2 knockouts. And that is making Blue 4 fall back. So these 3 have managed to knock out half of the Polish platoon's IFVs with those autocannons and literally repel a force twice their size. That is incredible. These 2 might still wake back up, but you might see a 3rd bomb round go in because it's right above. This is the only time I've seen that effectively be used. Normally they're kept in reserve. Micus runs up. He's at least trying to grab the RPG. We see some double tapping shots by Curie. We got some pretty nice weapons back here. Zizmo still up. Mac Marine is trying to pull security here. One of those 2 wounded gets up. He might find these guys. He does. Blows one of them away and knocks out another. Throws a grenade out, it hits the tree and airbursts over. I think that did a bit of damage to both of them. Another grenade goes in. That one gets a bit of a roll, bounces by a rock, does more fragmentation on him. And then you got these 2 now trying to pull security. But I doubt those 2 are going to wake up. I think Curie's trying to bandage up Zizmo. Mac Marine now suppressing Pingus because Pingus was getting some shots on Mac. He is now going to pull back. Wasn't able to get the double taps in. Might have spotted that AT launcher. And you hear that drone now flying around over here. Potentially looking for more Blue 4 to engage. Looks like that drone was hit once. And Mac is now double tapping the bodies. Leziak wakes up only for Mac Marine to double tap him. That's at least 4 kills for Mac. He's on 6 in a vehicle kill. I stand corrected. Now, you've got an OPFOR group here with a Blue 4 group in the middle. The German force pushed up. And the British guys are still distracted by this element over here. We have this one AT gunner. Oh, but he's an AA gunner instead. Blue 4 is getting piecemealed really hard in this mission. And I find it funny that it's all happening away from the front line here. So we have the tank now pushed in. Blue 4 firing at some of the rear forces on OPFOR. Do we have any AT on the front here, though? I don't see any AT at all, so that Leopard might enjoy eliminating some forces here with impunity. Otherwise, 2 Blue 4 guys potentially coming back. That drone might have gone down. Hearing some artillery land right on top of another position that the Polish forces had, and we had players in this one IFV knocked out, and that artillery shell gets a direct hit and cooks off the third IFV that the Polish group had, and now there's only one more potential IFV in play here. So OPFOR doing a great job of knocking out all the autocannon vehicles Blue 4 has. There's still a few more around. And we just heard something detonate in this tree line. Tank is pushing up. Oh, does Diego have it? Diego, AT. Go, Diego, go. This tank might get sniped. It's hidden in foliage right now. Barreling out of this position, exposing its rear. Raposo, I think, just missed an AT shot on that MRAP. Can Diego get an angle? The foliage is very thick here. Does he look left? He sees it. Just don't AT yourself. That tank almost running Vincent's over. The gun almost knocking him. The AT guys are now super far back. You got that OPFOR group right there. So tank comes in the open. Vincenzo, I think, is trying to call that out. He, I think, just shot the gunner. There was someone turned out on that tank, and he just shot him. Was that tank being solo crewed? No. Okay, no, so the commander was Gauche, so we have Kepler and Fushin here. They just, yeah, they sniped the commander out of the tank with one suppressed shot. That's amazing. So they're switching him out, they get his body out. Got the autocannon here blindly suppressing. Sismo still unconscious. Kiri found some AT and picked it up. Mac Marine pulling back. That's the final autocannon vehicle that Blue 4 has. And they're just guessing where they are at this point. British platoon still sweeping around for that one remaining OPFOR guy. And that has divided the remaining Blue 4 elements to be absolutely annihilated here. Vincenzo engaging guys around this MRAP. And no one is none the wiser. Some are looking up and they're trying to engage the smoking drone, which just had its audio cut, so I'm assuming it finally went down. And Blue 4 are completely panicking right now, as Vincenzo is just picking people off with that suppressor. Tank has fully pushed back into where more friendlies are, but that entire squad has been nearly wiped. And now we have a free Crow system vehicle. I'm surprised Vincenzo isn't getting into this and potentially using that to pick off who's remaining, because it's got elevation. It could literally just snipe everyone here. Blue 4 is really losing this match. And OPFOR still have a big amount of defense here, but now Blue 4 might have an angle on the artillery, Vix. Let's do a drone check real quick. So Blue 4 have drones over OPFOR's defensive line. We got a Crocus AT drone going up. Looks like Surin might have waken up and killed Vincenzo, because I don't see him there anymore. And then we just have more drones all around back here. Let's do a quick OPFOR check. OPFOR's drones are just darter drones up right now. And they're just getting reconnaissance data of what's going on over here. Wombat is marked with a kill, though, so I think he got a kill utilizing the bomber drone. Because I haven't seen any Crocus drones used effectively yet. We hear some 50 cal fire coming in. That could have potentially... Yeah, that just... Oh, no, that's a rock. Okay. So it's just suppressing some OPFORs they were coming in. But yeah, OPFOR have been on their A game today. Great artillery use. So is Blue 4 in terms of arty. They've done really well, but... Now we have these arty tanks outranging. Honestly, if they're firing again, Blue 4, I think, has already heard them fire and started honing in on them. And then the British platoon might finally pack up and move, but Honestly, all three of Blue Force platoons have been piecemealed here, and OpFor's been doing a great job of finding them and taking them out. Flare Rune, thanks for the tier 1 sub, buddy. Hope you keep enjoying the operations. Hope you get a nice kick out of this. So someone's spraying down the MRAP with small arms. A few GL hits actually hit. We see that this vehicle shows a bit of a damage texture here. Now it's driving up to any OpFor players have AT. AT hits, knocks the engine. Looks like some black smoke came out, but she's still driving. Damn. OpFor, or Blue 4 down to 1. Another AT hit comes in. That might have also hit as well, but MRAPs are very effective at taking RPG fire. That's what they were designed for, at least the Blue 4 ones. So it's still up and kicking, but OpFor is still pushing in and engaging what they can here. The tank appears to be decrewed right now and disabled. The gun's looking down. So they might be trying to do some field repairs at the moment, but it's not being fielded. And the Crow is... Wait. What are you doing? The Crow is, yeah. Okay. I guess they forgot that they were surrounded by friendly infantry and they started shredding friendly infantry. OpFor now maneuvering around this area here. That just shows Blue Force panicking that they don't even know where friendlies are. And one of the Crow systems finally get destroyed. I think that was the partially damaged one. But you see the power of the Crow here. It's literally knocking people out as they're moving up. And that is starting to help turn the tide in terms of the number advantage here. But even then, the damage is done. And then we still have the AA guy back there, but he's not really going to be able to do much. I think the British platoon just doesn't know what to do. They're still holding this one section as the German platoon's getting cut down, and the Polish platoon is, I think, just down to these 3 dudes. And I have no idea where their IFV went. It's over here, actually. So yeah, Blue 4 has 1 platoon that's completely disjointed, 1 platoon that's at half strength fighting for their life, and 1 platoon that I think is still at full strength. And they've been hunting this one little squad here. So OpFor took an ambush squad and turned it into a distraction to then piecemeal the remaining forces, and now you got the German forces pulling back. Meanwhile, Blue 4 is close enough to hear the engine. And they're now slowly going to move up on it. I mean, there's suppressed elements here, so they're definitely meant to go behind enemy lines and engage stuff. But now we have this massive pullback. There's still a wounded guy in that vehicle because he's showing up on my map. But yeah, no, OpFor have definitely turned this fight around. We got Blue 4 combing for that one remaining OpFor player. So yeah, Blue 4, looks like they got their tank repaired though, but I mean, skull count wise, it looks a little more even, but I mean, scrolling through OpFor and then scrolling through Blue 4, there's definitely more OpFor players on the board right now, but OpFor is about to lose their artillery. Second one might get away, but that first one, unless Blue 4's smart and finds the second one too. You have some suppressed shooters coming out from OpFor here. That might have been a bit of red on red, or they somehow... No. All right. Damien gets a lucky headshot on an auto rifleman. He gets taken out, though. I'm surprised he was able to tie up that auto rifle. Looks like he has a 45-round mag, though, so... That's funny. So 2 knockouts. Callie's still unconscious. Rigel's now slowly coming up. But yeah... Being able to draw on a fight where the enemy has more ammo than you and a faster firing gun than you is pretty impressive. Rigel, that was also kind of impressive. Also double taps Damien, thinking he might have still been up. And then you got Michael over here. Rigel put some double tap rounds on him, and that's 3 riflemen down. And then you got platoon leader here, now trying to fire at Rigel. Rigel gets in the vehicle and drives away. It's an MRAP, so he's not going to be able to get injured. And what's left of that platoon has pulled back right here. You got the IFV now over here trying to spot anything, but OPFOR has done a crazy great job despite what's going on. And you've got the other RDVIC firing. We just saw it flash. It didn't play the audio, though, because I just clipped in last second. So Blue 4 might simultaneously try to take down both of those vehicles, because they know if they take out one, the other one's going to run. And it looks like he just got knocked out by something recently. I just don't know. He either traded with someone or maybe an artillery shell just landed and partially knocked him out. I do hear Artie coming in. So I think that was the case. He got knocked out by a lucky Artie shot. Blue 4, though, is in pieces right now. The only way they could still pose a serious threat is if they regroup all of the British forces and start going for the objectives. Objectives won't cash in. Let's see, it's the 49-minute mark, minus 8 minutes, so 41 minutes of game time have come through. A lot of early game fighting for this scenario. We're finally in mid-game, though, in those middle 30 minutes, because, again, OFCRA is a 90-minute round. But we could still see the British forces push in with artillery support. And there's the tank still on standby and a little bit of the German group still alive. The purple and green zones get cashed in at the 65-minute mark. So that would technically be at the 73-minute mark for this time, because that timer doesn't include the 8 minutes of safe start there. All right, looks like one RD tank was taken out and the other one is starting to drive away. So I guess they jumped the gun there. Maybe they started moving and panicked and tried to at least take one out. But now OPFOR knows there's a Blue 4 force on the northern side of them. And then, yeah, you got the OPFOR tank set up back here defensively. Watching all those open areas, that's a smart place to put it. You still got the IFV relaxing here. Blue 4's RD tanks are in a really good spot, though. OPFOR's being challenged, though, is quite interesting. We do have some OPFOR teams ready to go and hit Blue 4 elements there, and it looks like Kevin might have waken up and he was immediately double tapped by Rigel, who is now on 3 kills officially. OPFOR at this point, they just can pull back and hold the defensive zones, and they will win the defensive number advantage. But they're still pretty spread out. Blue 4, I think, have a good opportunity to unite that entire British platoon of 30 to 40 players and just start piecemealing some of these sectors here. OPFOR would probably respond in kind as a piecemealed force, and Blue 4 could just push through, again, with that artillery support. And since Blue 4 and so many different smaller pieces, I think they would, the British guys would definitely get the priority, but we'll see how well these stealthy elements can do, what else they can take out on their own, and then what that British platoon can do with their assets as well. I don't think it's a GG with OPFOR winning just yet, but it definitely, OPFOR is definitely in a better position right now asset-wise. But again, that could all get turned around because the British still have a very good force here, and OPFOR are very separated out on the defenses, and Blue 4 still have artillery. These guys, I think, are going to get boxed in because we have the IFE watching their south, we have the tank watching right here, and then the German forces are here licking their wounds, and they still have access to a few Crow systems. IFE now engaging. Yeah, so that is the Tempest autocannon. One of OPFOR's 2 IFEs, that was the only one that could scope in as well. That has been absolutely shredded by the remaining Polish forces. So that's not going to be recoverable. We do have Blue 4, or excuse me, OPFOR have stolen an unarmed MRAP, but that's just going to be transport. And it looks like Blue 4 is now starting to send forces out to engage other forces here. So Kiri and McMurray moving on. Seismo looks like he bled out. And now Blue 4 might be trying to pursue where that vehicle went, and it's linked up with some OPFOR elements here. Fascinating. Hydrate. Okay, that's a standard 80. Does the Blue 4 3-man strike team have AT? Oh, God, they've got double AT. Double AT and a machine gunner. That is a really dangerous combo. AT smacks the BTR-80. Machine gunner cleans up anyone that dismounts. And it's going to drive right here. I need to see Blue 4 pull that AT out. No, what do? You have AT. Pull it out! Pull it out! It's like a senior on prom night. Pull it out! What are you doing? Pull it out! Pull the RPG out! Maybe not that line, but you know what I mean. Yeah, they're too skittish to do anything. That's a shame. They're playing it cautiously, and I'm going to be honest, when it comes to macro fights like these, you can't play them cautiously. Especially when we're at mid-game and everything's disjointed. At this point, you need to be focusing on trying to do what you can. But it looks like they are trying to now hone in on the target here. So now we might see them still be able to engage it. The fear here, though, is what if that group just dismounted stuff? So they shouldn't come in with their RPGs out. They should scope it out with their rifles first, and then pull the RPG out if needed. But they got lucky. There were no dismounts, and they just sniped one of the enemy BTR-80s in the game. Yes, that is going to alert everyone else here, but they have time to now pull away, and that's honestly what they should be doing. They just blew it up. They need to pull away from it. But they're staying, and now everything's going to see something smoking and then look at it and wonder what the heck just happened. But I don't fault them for not pulling away. Again, they seem to be playing this very cautiously, so they might cautiously try to move away as well. But after you hit something, you gotta run. That's why they call it hit and run. All right, British platoons moved up. They've dismounted on this farm complex. They're looking around to potentially continue to scout things out. These guys, I think they have to have access to a drone to know to follow the vehicle over there. I'm wondering if this drone has the range to see everything here, but Blue 4 have the entirety of OpForce positions on drone access. We do have a Crocus AT drone flying around. We got other drones also on top of OpForce position. That's an interesting caveat to see. Wondering if we'll see the Crocus AT drones get utilized, but it looks like they're deploying a few more from that one drone spot there. But, you know, just because it says AT doesn't mean it's not going to be effective against infantry. It literally just means it has a massive explosive package, and that used against infantry will absolutely annihilate people. Yeah, shoot and scoot, another good term for it. These guys playing defensive right now. Some OpFor guys checking things out, but other BTRs moving away. Meanwhile, we have the British platoons over here trying to scope out what they could potentially see. But again, OpFor only have a few guys here. I think it would have been a bit more interesting if we saw OpFor get a few static Cromet turrets. The sit-down ones, not the prone ones. But I think some prone Metis ones would have been pretty nice as well. And now the IFV is going to push right into where they know OpFor are. Not the smartest idea. Unless they're being ordered to regroup, but then again, they shouldn't drive through this area. I think they're actually just going to drive through. And they've somehow timed it where OpFor are kind of pulling away from this area here, so they might find their vehicles here and hit them, but this is really, really risky to do. Diego might crawl out and get another opportunity to use his RPG, but Blue 4 just driving out instead. I think OpFor set up an ambush here. Because they know Blue 4's over there. They're digging in some defensive positions. And we have this little standoff here. Blue 4 have decided to set this into an ambush point, which I don't agree with, but they're going to get lucky and only 2 people are going to potentially come up and check this out, which gives them a, you know, a decent number advantage. They got to be careful, though, because these RPGs do give them away. God, can you imagine if you could actually shoot that warhead and detonate it and kill the person? I'm not sure if you can actually do that. Hell, someone look that up. Can you shoot an RPG warhead and cause it to detonate? Especially if you hit the detonator in the front. But look at that. This IFV found the 2 German MRAPs that were stolen and blew both of them up. You can't. We've tried. I know you can't in Arma, but I'm talking about real life. Maybe we can add that as a mod one day. So, very lucky pickoff by the vehicle here to be able to do that. So this is interesting. We got Twigkin on recon here. I think he just spotted some of the players in front. He sees the fortification line. Okay. And then he spots Azanor and takes him out with his suppressor. Emil goes up. He's radioing this in. IRL, you'd have to hit the ignition cap. Yeah, that's what I figured. Still, if you want a cool pro sniper thing to do, looks like, alright, so Mr. Tox and Rixie came up, and the three-man ambush team was able to pick them both off. And one of them was an officer, so he was either a platoon leader or a squad lead, but still, very important to take those guys out. And I think, nope, Postal back there just got spotted in a little open area and picked off. Now you're going to have a direct fight right here. I'm surprised they're not moving the artillery tank, but at the same time, wouldn't it be funny if they just fired it into the tree line? Oh, the 80 Alpha's here! It's firing a machine gun into this infantry force. They might be forced to pull back here. RPGs have a minimum distance. Fair. Blue 4 might bounce back here. Op 4 is really divided. We have a transport truck loaded with people driving away. GMG is going to be way too short, but the GPMG... I don't know why they're not driving forward as long as they keep it stable. Oh, we just saw some shots go in the rear of the truck. Might have been in the immediate center, though, but they're trying to ram some stuff and go forward, but that GMG might catch them if they get closer. Meanwhile, with this fight, we still have Camera down. Postal woke back up. They've all started disseminating to the southern side of this tree line here. Maz goes in, and it takes out the other artillery vehicle, and that was the goal of these guys anyway. So now Blue 4 have total artillery superiority. The Grom vehicle drives by. Again, Diego has AT, right? Diego's either unlucky or he's just not being aggressive enough with the weapon platform. Who knows? But these three were able to double tap those two guys. And I'm going to be honest, they can run up and take the objectives for free at this point. There's only two more guys defending it, but they're looking in... Yeah, they're not even looking at the trench line. So Blue 4 could get a few points for free here. We also see that Blue 4's rushed in and are now taking some of these positions here because Op 4... That's another funny thing. OFCRA, sometimes they won't defend the actual objectives. They'll just defend around them. So that stops no one from just running in and grabbing the objectives themselves, which sometimes can be some pretty good defensive positions. So Blue 4 are setting themselves up to be right on top of the final objective and start actually capping things. So Blue 4 could still come back and win this despite Op 4 doing a really great job in the beginning. And now you're starting to see Blue 4 artillery land in fortified positions that they're calling up. And as I predicted, the British forces are going to have access to basically utilize both of their remaining artillery tanks to continuously engage stuff. Tank is now coming around. It could potentially come up to engage the elements up here because that BTR-80 Alpha has pushed all the way to the north, trying to find an angle to snipe additional forces out, which it might find an angle on Killer J because he is in the open here. I get wanting to use your marksman rifle, but I guess he didn't hear that heavy machine gun firing earlier. No, it's only a gas. What happened to the 80 Alpha? It was right here. Because there's the smoking Artie. Why? Why is this not with its HE 30mm autocannon? It hasn't been... Okay. Weird call, but okay. I'm just not going to question it. Charlotte, fallacy is spelled with an F-A. Phallo with a P-H means something phallic, as in dick-shaped. But I get it, yeah. Op 4 are playing with the Overwatch fallacy of they're just overwatching the objectives instead of actually being in the objectives and covering them. And we see that be the bane of their existence time and time again. So Blue 4 might be able to sneak in here and just get the objectives and still win. Which is pretty funny. I know you don't know English, but it's funny to me. to watch you utilize those terms. We're hearing more RT hitting objectives in the distance. And let's do another drone check here. Oh. Rounds whistling over. So, Rodrig, we've got drones all around. We've got a Crocus drone deployed over here. That could be used against something. But again, Blue 4 now doing their final phase of scouting and moving things in. Wombat has multiple Crocus drones deployed. Could be utilized against the vehicles coming in. But otherwise, just darters around to do reconnaissance. RPG drone fires, knocks out that one vehicle. I think the first one did that. The second one was a miss. So, another RPG comes in. That's MacMarine. It's MacMarine and Curie. They were the ones that got stuff, but we got multiple grenades being thrown. That vehicle cooks off. Additional grenades being thrown out. And they're picking people off. So that is the final Polish vehicle taken out. Funny enough, by the guys that have taken out 3 out of the 4 Polish vehicles. So MacMarine on 9 kills and 2 vehicle kills. Curie pushing up. He is on only a single kill so far, but that's making the 3 remaining Blue 4 guys pull away. Wiki Quartz still needs to be double tapped, but that's impressive for literally a 3-man team to take out 3/4 of an entire platoon. That's pretty much 3 people versus around 30 to 40. And the 3 people winning. That's Adriano levels of bullshit. It could be out of ammo, but I don't recall seeing the BTR-80 Alpha, especially since it was kept in reserve. What would have been engaging earlier? Because all the fighting's been in different spots. Mac going for kill number 10, unable to land a shot on Titan. Gets a few shots on the legs, and Titan has no idea where that came from. Avalon taking some fire. Curie, I think, got that knockout. I'm hearing some distant fire up here. That could be Blue 4 engaging some of the Green 4 guys. Or, excuse me, Blue 4 guys. I'm misspeaking here. That could be some of the Blue 4 guys engaging some of the Op 4 guys in the distance, and that appears to be it. They're using their scopes to the maximum range here, and they're just trying to pick people off from afar. Wicked Quartz wakes back up. Curie pushing locally as MacMarine's trying to flank from the side. Provides an opportunity for Wiki Quartz to come back in once he's done bandaging. More grenades going over. I really like that MacMarine's done some looting here with grenades. Almost hurts himself with his own V40. And we see Titan taken out by Curie. And Grishkov hiding in the final zone. Titan getting double tapped by Mac, even though he's already dead. It's always good to verify that they're dead. Oh, God, Charlotte. Oh, Curie getting caught in a tree. Can't move away because he's caught in a tree in a bush. MacMarine, the only one left. Can he get kill number 10 on Grishnikov? No, it's Grishovsky. Smoke grenade running out. MacMarine sees him. Takes him out. That is 10 kills for MacMarine. Technically only 2 vehicle kills. But we still have Wiki Quartz back there. But, again, not bad. Blue 4, meanwhile, still trying to push up on this position. Twig is knocked out. Doesn't have a... Okay, no, Pie's the medic, so could still potentially get Twig up, but they're pushing this position, and Op 4 are folding back. Tank is going around on this side, and the Op 4 tanks pulled back to over here. It was originally on that corner, but I'm assuming it's pulled back because now it's being ordered to try to find a firing angle on the forces over here. We got Artie landing around, and I think Mac turned around and spotted Wiki Quartz and took him out. Yeah, so he's on 12 kills now. Op 4 just need to stay prone in the trenches and hold out against, or Blue 4 need to do that. My apologies. And you have the Leopard now pushing up, running over hay bales. We might see some tank-on-tank action here in a moment. Oh, I need to provide the Zeus's with MacMarine's medical script. So if someone armas themselves in base, they can just heal themselves. Just preferably without the holo feed picture. All right, so Company Commander alive on both sides has been completed. So we're at the 50-minute mark. which it was cashed out at the 60-minute mark. So I guess it was at the 60-minute mark, not the 50-minute mark. So whatever. That's fine. Both sides still have him alive. Tank found an angle and was able to snipe one of the Jackals. That one has 2 wheels in the back. I always forget the damn difference, but one of the British vehicles was taken out from range. And it looks like the Leopard pulled back and is now being played defensively as we have another BTR-80 driving out. Based off of points, unless Blue 4 take every single one of these zones by the 65-minute marker, it's not gonna, the final zone's gonna be the most important, but now the tank's driving up. We have a Gaz driving up. It's taking 50 cal fire, and I think the driver just got knocked out. Yep. Both the driver and the passenger seat guy got hit. Now the vehicle was trying to circle, but yeah, I think everyone in there is unconscious except for the guy in the back. Yeah. Oof. Surprised the 50 cal's not trying to unload. There it is. It was reloading. I think everyone in there is about to be knocked out. They're shooting the wheels out, too. And he's knocked out, too. Yeah, driver got absolutely eviscerated there. More shots going. The tank found the other vehicle and took it out. Coyote was taken out first. Now the Jackal's down. Thank you. Now the tank's trying to pick people off, but as long as one Blue 4 guy stays alive in that zone, they're fine. Funny enough, those 3 are in the zone, so they still count as being in the zone, but again, it's all about who has the number advantage. I'm surprised we're not seeing the Leopard being pushed over there, but that just shows there's a communication disconnect there. You think Matt could, like, 1v3, 3 more dudes? We'll have to see. Let's see. Twig King is brought back up because they still have their medic. You're seeing one more fortification versus fortification fight here. They're remounting their BTR-80 Alpha. I think they're just going to pull out. Blue 4 really bounced back. They took Op 4 by piecemeal and just absolutely shredded them. You got Blue 4 Company Command now mounting up. They're going to drive in. Well, Blue 4 are so far set up to get 5 out of the 6 zones, so that's going to be 5 additional points for Blue 4, but it's not going to matter because this final zone's worth 8 points. Which means that if Op 4 hold this final zone, they would get those 8 points, and that would be 10 for Op 4. Blue 4 would be down to 7. Got the 50 cal coming up. It's cleaning up whoever else might still be alive there. I think he might still be alive. Everyone else in here is probably dead. Nope. No more marker. They're all dead. AT just came in from range. I have no idea what potentially gave that shot. Tank now maneuvering around, though. Might be able to pick off more of the British forces. And I'm going to be honest, they're going to be pinned there. Because without vehicles, they're not really going to be able to transition that one position. Op 4, though, are bringing everything back to this final position, and this is where Blue 4 might still lose. If Op 4 are able to set up a massive garrison in the final zone, and Blue 4 is piecemeal because they're taking all these other zones, we could see Blue 4 then defeat themselves in detail, similar to how we've seen this game in the middle happen for Op 4. But yeah, I agree. We need to see Blue 4 already absolutely cake this final area before Blue 4 start going in. I think that would help turn the tide in terms of numbers. But if we were to actually look at the Artie Vics here, that Artie Vic doesn't have any kills registered. This one has a vehicle kill register. So I don't think their infantry kills are being registered because I've seen Artie kill like 4 or 5 Op 4 dudes already. They're just not registering properly. But Op 4 are pulling away. I think they're going to pull everything around and then try to just get them into this zone. You see the infantry backing up. They're going to start moving to the final zone. Blue 4 have all 6 of these zones. So it's going to be 8-2. But again, that just means whoever has the final zone here is going to get those 8 points. So it's either going to be a perfect game for Blue 4 or Op 4 are going to win 10-8. I wish more OFCRA ops were built like this, but it's also because we have 175 plus players on the server, and I know at least half of them are dead. I mean, just looking at the skull counts here. You gotta remember, if players disconnect, they disappear from the roster, but... Ooh. I would laugh if Max somehow pokes his head out and gets a few kills there, but he might just follow the orders of pulling back. Might want to look for a brief moment if there's anyone, maybe Heffron to pick off, but, you know, just running away is also not bad. So all of those just got cashed in. All of them completed by West. All of them failed by East. So the scoreboard is now 8 points to 2. And now OPFOR literally backing everything up to hold that final position. Yeah, Charlotte, that does look painful. And Vix just texted me. She got her Apache helmet fitted. The goober. Charlotte, explain to me what's in that picture, though. You're syncing a bunch of modules to every single player individually? OPFOR lost there already a while ago. Yep, and it looks like the OPFOR tank just fired and sniped a Blue 4 vehicle that was an MRAP. I still think the Blue 4 gun is down. So OPFOR being up a tank could be their saving grace here. But Charlotte's one of the 4 Zeuses working on the Fallout stuff for the next Zeus rotation, which we'll start seeing on Mondays. But... Ay. I try to help out all the Zeuses when I can. Sometimes I get a little busy. But this one, since it's Fallout and there's a lot of buggy stuff, if you saw the previous mission today, which we ran just before OFCRA, you would know. But, oh, there was some very funky stuff with it. Diego, AT, and Fuego. I was trying to make a rhyme with that. No! No, Diego, no! Yeah, it's too far. Don't. There's no way in hell. Diego! That was actually pretty close with the vehicle immediately veered off. Oh my god. Imagine looking in your rearview mirror and you see an RPG slowly getting closer and you're just like, what? Sharp left turn. I think this tank, yeah, the gun has been down the entire time. I think it's busted. They've just been using it as a transport for themselves. But, all right, so we got the Twig King team. They are now going to approach from the north. Could potentially interdict the tank if they still have any AT left. They do have an AT gunner, which means I think they have a Maz. But they've used some of that AT to eliminate the artillery Vix. So Crazy would be the AT gunner. He still has it on his back, which to me, Twig's smart at commanding. So if he still has AT, then they would still have that. We got Postal, too, who doesn't have AT. He might be an assistant, though, with additional rockets. So they might still have, like, 2 or 3 shots remaining, which means they could very well take out this tank. And, I mean, it's gotten 3 vehicle kills. And 4 infantry kills for the gunner as well. So the tank's been utilized very effectively. But now we need to see how these guys are going to transition in. I'm going to be honest, I think they're going to go up, take this tree line in, and then come in from the north, similar to how that squad's doing it. This group, probably south, and then coming through that tree line. But here's the thing. They haven't realized that these objectives have been cashed in yet. So, as we see time tick away, the maximum time here, it'll be done in 21 minutes. So if Blue 4 don't start maneuvering, they're just going to lose the time. Alright, so every zone has 4 modules, 2 times, same ones. 2 are synced to the player with PA, 2 are synced to the player without. Has to be the 2. Gotcha. So you're basically just jury-rigging it to make it work. And I mean, hey, jury-rig is one of the best perks in Fallout New Vegas, so you've got to jury-rig your Fallout mission file. I like it. And then you got some Blue 4 guys crawling out of the tree line here because they lost their vehicles. But yeah, no, Blue 4 need to start their maneuvering now because mission's over in now 20 minutes. So what I am worried about, though, is them defeating themselves in detail because I think they have the number advantage, but OPFOR have consolidated all their remaining forces in the zone. We need to see Blue 4 artillery start pounding. Let's see if there's any drones left on either side. I think Blue 4, if they had a few Crocus drones, that would also be really useful for hitting this zone. We only have darters up for Blue 4, though. If OPFOR still have some Crocus drones, though, I think they do. They've just backpacked them again, but this would be a really great final position to use them on. I don't think they were really effectively used throughout this entire campaign. Mainly because the drone jammers made the drone operators really squirrely with them. But, I mean, the shot heads were definitely used effectively, though. As long as you got a few kills with them, you were fine. What a bunch of horse shit. I got armored on the finale. I'm sorry to hear that, man. It happens, Seb. Trust me, I know. But anyway, 20 minutes marked. And OPFOR have put a jammer up in the final zone, so now Blue 4 can't even hit that area with Crocus drones. Still, that's a golden target for Artie to hit. The question is, will they? Alright, jammer right here. And yeah, as you see, Blue 4 are now going to these tree lines. They're going to follow it up. 19 minutes. We have vehicles that'll come around here. They're going to basically assault from the north and the south. And this team still hasn't gotten the memo that they need to move out. We still have an OPFOR infantry group down here. That's Diego's team. They've walked all the way back from over here, but if that's the distance they've covered in the past, like, 15 minutes, that means they're going to mostly be ineffective for another 10 minutes at least. Maybe they'll run into a Blue 4 dismount there and slow them down. It's just going to be about whoever has more numbers in the final zone. So far, that's looking like OPFOR. HG, all right. So we hear the T-80 coming into the zone. Honestly, smart that it's being pulled, because on the northern side, anyone with a map would look and see that Blue 4 got these zones and then realize Blue 4 are probably just going to follow in, so they need to reposition that vehicle. They need to put it on a spot that watches one of these tree lines come in, but at the same time, they don't want to overcommit it outside the AO, because then it's just going to get intercepted and taken out. This Gaz still on the outside. I think they ditched the 80 Alpha, I guess because it did run out of ammo. But that's 6 more OPFOR bodies to commit to the final area. But if they drive down this SSR, they could potentially get intercepted by that Moz gunner. The guy on the southern side is going to hear it, give plenty of time for the Moz gunner to, you know, get some warning and then hit it. But, I mean, I guess they would rather do the SSRs than the open field. And, you know, honestly, I agree with that call. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't at that point. $121 down. We have about 16 minutes left. Why aren't there air assets? You know, that's a good question. I'm going to be honest, though. I don't really think this campaign needed them. I think this was a great campaign to showcase drone warfare, the power of utilizing drones for spotting for artillery, and some really great ground vehicle action. I think air, while it's, again, another aspect of warfare, I think it wouldn't... I mean, yes, technically drones are air, right? You know, UAVs and whatnot, but I think it would have been a bit redundant. No, you're good, Dooku. No, Dooku, excuse me. Star Wars, duh. But air is a difficult thing to balance as well, but I mean, again, this was 175 players divided in two. That's like, you know, 60 to 70 players on, not even, that's 70 to 80 players on both sides for 3 platoons. It's... Did they barricade the road with tape? No, these were here beforehand. That is a Crocus drone. So if they hit it... You know what's really funny? This is the head honcho of OFCRA. So every mission file that goes through his community That is the definition of irony. That is actually the definition of irony, because that means he had the opportunity to audit the file, and you get killed by your own AT drone at a spawn point on some invincible tables that you can't bulldoze through. So I take it back. The Crocus drone, we finally see it used effectively. Unfortunately, it was somehow a blue on blue and it never took off. How? Don't know. If I didn't catch it, I wouldn't believe it. Because let me say it out loud. Bro, we just had a vehicle get sniped by AT. We just had a grounded AT drone on a table blow up a gas. How? The gas drove into the table. Oh my god. Shark, OFCRA only does a single round. They sometimes do a bonus round, but I don't cover it. You're thinking of FNF on Fridays. That has 3 rounds. My god. How many kills are on the tank? The Blue 4-1, I didn't see any. The Op 4-1 had 4 infantry and 3 vehicle. Now you got the Op 4 tank that's turned around, though. It's starting to shell that tree line. But, okay, he's on 5 infantry kills now and 3 vehicle kills. The Blue 4 tank got disabled early on. Oh, did Diego get an AT kill? Yes, he did. There's a spent warhead there and a blown out vehicle. Go, Diego, go! He's been slow to the draw all night, but he finally got something. Good for him. There are 13 minutes left on the game clock, and I don't think Blue 4... No, we might have Blue 4 get some forces in. These 3 have completely missed the memo. They don't know that they're supposed to now move over to the final position, but I think Op 4's got this. Blue 4 now trying to clean up this remaining area, but the tank is out here engaging them from the open hills, the open field, so they can keep their distance from any enemy shots, but Mr. White now alone, he's gotten a few pickoffs. But yeah, no, I mean, just the sheer amount of Op 4 still alive in the zone compared to what Blue 4 could come in with. I mean, what do we have here? We have a +4 and a +3. So that is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 10 Blue 4 guys. So I think there's still a decent chance. But Blue 4 need to trickle their remaining forces in. But this tank has been a really good tank. What Blue 4 need to do is utilize their arty, but they might be out. Because we see them just driving in at this point. I'm really surprised we haven't just seen an outright barrage of this position with artillery yet. Yeah, I know, it's NASA's thing, which is fun. NASA, I think, got killed earlier in that squad, but that's still funny that they get blown up by something like that. Mr. White got picked off. So now it's just a matter. Blue 4 still needs to run a kilometer to get into that zone, and they've got 11.5 minutes to do it. I think these guys are going to be able to get into the zone if they're only going to have a few minutes left, and then these guys are going to drive in, but that's it. Let me do a head count of Op 4, because it's literally going to come down to whoever has more numbers in here. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yep, that's a single infantry guy. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Honestly, I think Blue 4 need a little bit of a miracle to go 2-to-1 on the kill ratio here. And then these guys need to sprint in. But again, we saw this earlier, though. One of the first firefights was the British guys basically encircled the remaining enemy force and, you know, took, I think, the first 30 to 45 minutes of the round just picking off a single Op 4 squad. So they're doing that tactic again, but they don't have the time to do it. Blue 4, meanwhile, dismounting outside of the zone. They're going to cautiously go in, but they don't have the time to be cautious. Now you got the tank, it's turned around, it's starting to harass this force coming in. I think it's over. These guys aren't going to get out of that little bunker there, and these guys could potentially just get picked off by the tank coming in. Now we're seeing artillery rounds coming, but there's smoke. So Blue 4's artillery is dry, but they're driving in. They could try to, like, jump right in, do some dismounts, but the tank could snipe them as they drive through the open field to get in. I think it's over. Now, if the zone was smaller and it didn't encompass these tree lines and OPFOR only had a handful of dudes and Blue 4 just steamed in to the objective and won via the number advantage, because by then OPFOR would only have about 8 dudes in the actual base itself, then I would say Blue 4 has a chance here. But we have 9.5 minutes of game time left. And the tank is striking into the tree line here. It's a little short, but they've got that weapon pretty much ranged in. GMG engaging the tree line. Getting some knockouts, but in OFCRA, you count if you're knocked out in the zone, but we do see some double taps. 80 has no idea what's going on. It's been damaged. We have someone picked off right here, immediately being administered medical. But again, they're being cautious here, and they're not actually getting in the zone. They could still get in the zone on the edge of the tree line, but will it be enough? Mods round comes in, takes out the BTR. This force, if they double time in, they'll be in the zone a lot closer. We could still see it. But Blue 4 need to pretty much knock out a majority of the OPFOR infantry around this area. And I don't think they have the time to do it. We've got about a little over 8 minutes remaining. But we need to see some Blue 4 aggression. And the remaining forces that are here are the British guys that were spending a lot of time in the earlier mission only hunting down one squad. So I don't think we're going to see that level of aggression here. I think they're going to take it cautiously and not be able to go in. And I think the tank has realized, all right, yeah, those 3 guys pushed in. So now they're getting picked off by the tank that watched them do it. That thing's up to 6 kills now. RPG goes over. Honestly, they shouldn't even be focusing on the tank. They need to just bypass it and run to the objective. I know the tank is so tempting, but when you have the last 10 minutes, it's now down to less than 8 on the board, just shooting at it's going to pull its attention and then make it everyone else's problem. And we just saw the RPG going to get knocked out. These infantry are better committed going in. We just had the AT thing, multiple hits here. That sounded like it was some Panzerfaust here. One guy gets sniped by an AT round! I think that was an AP round that literally just decapitated that man. So yeah, you disabled it. Great. The gun is still working. It's still going to kill you. I get it. You want to engage the threat, but it was not focused on you. You needed to focus on the objective here. But I get, you see a tank, you want to take it out. Totally get that, but that has just made it that much harder for Blue 4 to come in. Because honestly, if they were to bypass it and just run into the objective here, they're only a few hundred meters away. They could have helped with the number advantage here. But 6.5 minutes left. Blue 4 still maneuvering the top force in. It's going to be close. And it's just going to rely on how many bodies Blue 4 can get in the zone. But now we're starting to see this 10-man group starting to take losses here. And they got the hardest area to get into the actual zone itself. It's just a sliver of some of the forest here. And OPFOR, they took losses, but it was only a few. There's still at least 15 OPFOR in the zone. The artillery turrets only have 2 dudes apiece. So you got 2 in there, 2 in there. And the gunners have to be turned out to use those MG3s. They're firing flare rounds. They could run up and overpressure people with them. But yeah, I mean, the tank is now disabled, but even then it wouldn't have driven through to get those. But by then, Blue 4 could have dismounted them and started running around, so. We still see these guys now moving up. Some trying to work on the wounded, but artillery tanks driving in. Again, it's gonna be close. Guys on the northern side still running in there, starting to engage the garrison. It is the artillery tank charge. This Mac Marine, oh no. One tank disabled. Dismount spotted. The RPG double taps both of the infantry. That's another 2 kills for Mac. He is unfortunately knocked out and only credited with one of those kills. Could still wake back up though. Other RD tank either disabled or they dismounted. I don't see any damage texture on there though. Now Blue 4 is starting to try to push into the zone. We have a unified attack coming from all sides. Blue 4 getting suppressed by the tank on the southern side here. It's going to come down to numbers. We have 5 minutes remaining. I think that's enough time for Blue 4 to start to transition and move in here. Macweg's back up. One to watch right now. Someone next to Mac gets picked off. He's throwing some smokes around. Some units moving in super close. 4 notices, tries engaging. Blind suppression, gets 2 knockouts, and survives the grenade. That's 13. Mac immediately going for it. Throws another grenade out. And Rodrigue's trying to bypass and run into the trenches so he can still count on the objective. Very smart call. Still on 13. I think his grenade got a double tap, so really I think he's on 15 or 16 at this point. Once you start getting into the double digits for kills, you got to start noticing when they're actually getting additional ones. But Twig putting pressure on these remaining guys here. He's on 3 kills. Gets a second knockout. But again, knockouts will still count them if they're in the zone. 3.5 minutes remaining. If Blue 4 can get more infantry in the zone, they could still win it. We have 6, 7, 8, 9. Mac just got another kill. 10 versus Op4 having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 in the zone. So I think Blue 4 has the numbers to overpower it, but Op4 have the numbers in the zone itself. We got some guys leaving the zone to pick off more dudes, but they get behind and get a few more pickoffs. This is literally just going to rely on whoever has more people in the zone. I think Mac is now credited on 14, technically, because he got that double tap. Yeah, so I think he's up to 16, actually, but 14 credited. Cable gets knocked out. But again, these kills ultimately don't matter. They got to get behind and eliminate that Blue 4 element, and then these guys need to move into the zone ASAP. We're seeing some additional double taps. Zelenius, we are vibing, buddy. We are definitely vibing. So Lolo now coming down. He's trying to get pickoffs here. If White Phosphorus wakes up, though. Beautiful grenade throw. Gets the knockout, but not the kill. But that's going to allow Lolo to run up and get even more knockouts and kills. Blue 4 pushing up. Trades with Django. Double tap. That's the double tap you want. Lolo could turn this around and guarantee Op4's victory right here if he knocks out everybody. Turns out, gets the double tap on Hawkeye as Baggy's now running around. Nordic gets picked off. Lolo does a great double tap there. Baggy running around. Dodging Baggy's fire. Outplays Baggy. Lolo for kill number 5. More people running in the trench line down here. Lolo finishes his reload. Oh, but he gets picked off, but 5 kills. Right in that zone, he just guaranteed Op4's victory. Twig King looks like he was taken out as he moved in. Op4 have complete control of the zone. There's only a few more Blue 4 guys left. It's GG. It's GG. Because of a beautiful play made by Lolo right there. I applaud that. That was great. I do agree. This was definitely the closest match, I think, in the campaign. Some of them got really one-sided towards the end, but this one, I mean, there were 3 great phases of Op4 losing a few squads in the beginning, then Op4 having a beautiful counter-attack rally. No, it was Op4 lost a squad to an ambush. Blue 4 then got some really nice ambushes on some Op4 elements. Op4 then turned it around, got a few squads, the entirety of the Polish platoon, but then Blue 4 rallied, took all the outside zones, and then Op4 closed everything in and still held till the end. Like, this was a very action-packed finale. This is probably one of the best finales I've seen for an OFCRA campaign. Depso getting flanked. Still has a little bit of cover to work with here as members of Boyer 4 coming in. Macmarine closing with 14 kills. I mean, it's GG. Wombat trying to switch to his handgun. Gets Depso, only for Kremet to take him out. Depso still uncon. And there it is. That is an Op4 victory. So, It didn't count some of the zones, but Blue 4 had everyone in those zones by the 65-minute marker. Okay, no, it was for an hour, not 50 minutes. But regardless, that should be 8. But that is definitely 10 because OPFOR held the zone. But yeah, 11 to 23 players remaining. Absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, we will be back for POG in a little under 3 hours. Our last pay-for campaign for at least another month or 2. Last night for Plinko until it just stays only on for DayZ streams. But otherwise, guys, thank you so much for watching. Go operate operationally. I got to go finish the POG file for tonight. Otherwise, cheers, guys, and have a good one.